pod. Welcome to the Deadlights podcast. I'm your host, Sam.
And I'm the other host, Leslie. And we're bringing you another week of fucking horror movies.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Another week of horror. We're loving it.
Ow.
In this third season of ours. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Yeah. We've had some interesting ones. We've had some good ones. We've had some bad ones.
We've definitely started off the year going, woo!
It's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have it any other way. And this week, I'd say we jumped aboard a pretty fun roller coaster.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what the hell did we watch?
We watched Dead Alive from 1992, directed by Peter Jackson, written by Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh. A young man's mother is bitten by a rat monkey. She gets sick and dies, at which time she comes back to life, killing and eating dogs, nurses, friends, and neighbors.
Oh, my God. They even had it on the Logline.
Yep.
Jesus.
Wow. I already said it. Fun. Fucking fun.
It was a blast.
Yeah. It was one of those movies that didn't take itself seriously at all. It really just was like, you know what? We're just going to go super wacky, and they committed 150% to the
They
wackiness.
were mad goofing.
They were mad goofing.
Mad goofing. They were just like, let's just throw every idea at the wall and make it happen.
And they did.
Wow.
And they did.
And they did.
I couldn't think of any other direction for them to go.
I mean, it's like they wrote down a list of things that they wanted to see in the movie, and they accomplished all of them and beyond.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And this, if I am not mistaken, is Peter Jackson's directorial debut as far as feature films go. And we might know Peter Jackson from a little movie called The Lord of the Rings, which he wrote and directed, and also Fran Walsh wrote Lord of the Rings with him as well. Wow. I mean, talk about a style change, but I did see some Peter Jackson-y things going on in this movie that also were in The Lord of the Rings. So such a completely different style / tone / genre / everything.
Yeah.
But still, those Peter Jackson isms I could still see come through slightly.
I can definitely see some of the close-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The way that they highlight the expressions and emotions that carry through.
Yeah. And also the practical effects. He's a man that does not like CGI, and in this movie and in The Lord of the Rings, almost everything, as far as I'm aware, is practically done, which is extremely impressive.
I would not have thought this was his movie. I wouldn't.
Yeah. His first movie.
His first one.
Yeah. Really came out the gates swinging.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely kudos to Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh for making this film, writing this film. Y'all clearly had some fun. So did we. How about we get into it, huh? Let's talk about the can.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's open it up, talk about it. The can it had this like almost 1950s quality about it, where everything was like super bright, very soft lighting, kind of idyllic kind of look. Everyone's in these like 1950s clothes, the cars,
the greaser look,
the houses. It was definitely, he was taking probably inspiration from a lot of the media that he loved as a kid growing up.
And it is what we're doing currently in this era of nostalgia of us being in, 2024 now, but still referencing 90s.
Love the 90s. The
as
90s
if
is
it
hot.
was like freaking it was almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Zoinks.
What the hell?
Yeah. No, but you're totally right. We see that now. People still referencing. I mean, Stranger Things, like referencing the '80s, like. So it's interesting how you see that progression, and you can almost feel filmmakers growing up, and you can tell when they grew up and what kind of media they were consuming by the things that they're making. So you could definitely tell there was a deep love of the 1950s science fiction kind of genre that was coming through from Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh. A lot of very wide lenses where people's faces were super close up and it felt like a fisheye lens. A lot of movement, a lot of camera movement. Almost every shot there was movement going on.
These close-ups make you feel like, oh, kind of like we got your back.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you. You're trying so hard.
Yeah. A lot of high angles that make him look smaller of him. A lot of low angles of his mother, who's this very, very overbearing mother, to give her a bigger presence as well. And everything and everyone feels like a caricature. And that's kind of, I think, what you're saying.
Yeah, I am saying that.
We're getting these like cookie cutter characters like greasers or like priests or the mother.
The priest. Fucking hell.
But then, we throw in the fact that the priest is a kung fu master.
Stay back, boy. This calls for divine intervention.
Because everyone is just turned up to 11. And not just the characters, but the filmmaking is also turned up to 11 to match that over dramatic style. And we're getting a lot of different colors, blues, greens, reds, a lot of it to just, again, heighten the reality that we're set in. And everything is just functioning with each other so well to be so over the top.
Everything. Like, the script, it wasn't written well, but that doesn't even matter because it knew that it will not take itself seriously because of how heightened everything is. So then the lack of the script just kind of added to just how absurd things were going to get. Because at one point, we didn't even get any, like no one was saying anything. It was just action.
I'm a New Zealand zoo official, and this monkey is going to Newtown.
I go with the zoo.
Oh, no. You want to go to the zoo?
Yes, please.
Oh.
Lionel! You managed to catch the white one or green one?
Green!
I was laughing the whole time.
And gagging.
If not, I was gonna puke. Yeah. I was in like laughing, puking.
Yeah.
Oh, I almost did.
Definitely.
I had tears in my eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And to go back to the script, it was like, it almost feels like if the writing was more grounded, it wouldn't have worked.
No, it wouldn't have.
It wouldn't have added again to this like caricature-esque style that we have. So I'm kind of glad that I feel like it was probably a conscious choice on their part to be like, let's just make these lines very rudimentary, very, like we're watching a retro 1950s film, because they would be talking in this like very over the top kind of melodramatic way.
There will be one romance, and it shall last forever.
It's just not possible.
Not possible? But we are romantically entangled.
Entangled?
There will be one romance, and it shall last forever.
Practical effects, the coloration.
The costumes, too.
The costumes were great.
Yeah.
On point.
Adding to that kind of 1950s style, there was a lot of patterns, a lot of, Paquita was always in these very bright, usually red colors to make her stand out amongst these people. And it makes sense. She's the love interest. And then Lionel who is like the more meek character. He was in these like more muted down colors until he started getting covered in blood. Then he was red as well. So
he was also dressed very similar to Seymour in
Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors
Yep.
with the vest and the shirt and the tie,
Making him look more boyish.
Yeah, boyish and like meek and subordinate in a way because he's like shy. Because the mother was overbearing, very, very much so, where she was trying to get in between Paquita and him.
Dad, take me home.
Why have you deliberately gone out of your way to upset me?
I'm sorry. It won't happen again.
All right, let's get to the meat. Let's get.
Yeah,
Speaking of the overbearing mother, let's get to it. It's a very ridiculous movie, obviously, as we said, but there is a message going on in this movie, and I think this movie is kind of about Lionel growing up, becoming his own person, finding his independence from his overbearing mother, in a very over the top and zombie-esque way. He finds his journey to becoming a man.
You must destroy them.
I can't. Oh, Mum.
Lionel was trying to resolve this situation with tranquilizers. He was literally just taming the flames, not willing to think outside because he wasn't ready yet to let go of his mom. And so he just tranquilized everyone.
Continued to. That scene of him poisoning his mother and killing his mother, it was an emotional scene for him. It took him a second to actually commit to doing that, because you're right, he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to make that commitment to letting go of his mother. He had been so used to having his overbearing mother his whole life that he would rather just tranquilize it and just not deal with the situation. But then poison still is kind of almost like a third party way to kill someone, because you're not killing them. The poison is doing it. So even him in that moment making the decision to kill her, it was still kind of a roundabout way to do it. And we see the results of that. The animal stimulant came back to haunt him, and he eventually did have to physically make that commitment to destroy his mother from within.
No one will ever love you like your mother.
Look, sometimes it is that rough. You have to fight through in order to get away. Because some people just have their claws, like especially a mother who had committed some crimes.
You drowned them both, Mum. Dad and that blonde woman, you caught them together and you killed them, didn't you?
More than just being an overbearing mother, she is also a murderer.
A murderer.
Yes.
Not once, but twice.
Yikes. Daddy and his mistress.
Oh, yeah. So she is willing to go all the way to ensure her happiness and her way of living. And nobody was good enough for Lionel because she was his protector.
Such a good boy.
We understand fully, so this is spoiler alert, go and see it first, and then come back to us. But the rebirth of him literally getting sucked into her womb as she is now the
Mega mom
rat monkey zombie shit. And then he had to fight his way through.
Yeah. And be reborn as a man. I don't know actually where Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh got the inspiration from the story, but it almost does feel like maybe one of them was going through the death of a parent, because we have this character who has an overbearing mother. She dies, but she keeps haunting him, which, I think for a lot of people who are very close to their parents, when they die, there is still those lingering feelings of, especially if they're an overbearing parent, having that little voice still in the back of your mind of your parent, even after they're gone. So for a lot of people, the death of a parent can be, it sounds bad, like a liberating thing, but still you have them with you, and for Lionel, he was trying to shake his mother and her overbearing presence, but he just couldn't. And I don't think he really knew after his mother died, I don't think he really even knew how to take care of himself. Mm-hmm. He kind of was at the beginning stuck in being a child for his old mother, and I don't think he really knew how to live any other way. This movie was his journey of how to fend for himself and live on his own.
Blood is thicker than water, Lionel.
All right, let's get to the cook.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's pick it up.
I think that we've kind of already said this before. The cook of this movie is everything is over the top. Like, they took every single part, whether it was acting, writing, the effects, the costumes, the lighting, the cinematography, every single bit, they just turned it up to 11. And I absolutely love that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that the cook of it, they overcooked everything, which somehow made everything great.
So it's that sense of understanding what elements you're adding, so then you can start upping it. Mm-hmm. And that's when it's successful. If you're just doing a movie and just putting together whatever and not understanding where it's coming from, or what exactly you're doing with it, that's when it's unsuccessful and it's just a mess. And then you're just getting a movie that's just like terrible.
Yeah.
It
makes me think of Beyond the Door, which we watched in this season, where it was that. Like, they didn't think about why they were making some of these moments experimental, feel like music video, and therefore the end product felt nonsensical, and it felt like
8 people wrote it.
Yeah, and then they did. Whereas this movie, you're right, they actually understood the rules of their universe.
I like that.
They set their rules and they set their look of the universe, and then committed to that 100%, which made for a successful, yes, over the top, but successful movie. Like, we weren't confused by any of the choices. Yeah, they were insane, but in this movie, we weren't like, why would they do that? Why? Where in Beyond the Door, we're like, what? Why?
What is going on? Why is there a long blackout scene in the middle of the movie?
Why are we getting so many shots of Campbell pea soup?
Every time they introduce another element of the special effects, it just became more and more and more successful.
Yeah.
And I just want to tip my hat to all the, what are they even called? Mechanics?
Yeah.
Robotics?
All of it. The practical effects creators,
There was a lot of robotics, if that is even a word.
There's robotics, there's makeup, we have claymation in there as well.
Electricians. There was a point in where one of the zombies' head went through a bulb that was just like attached to the wall, and the whole face was lit up and the arms were moving.
I I just made this connection. Like, there was a lot of burying imagery. There was, we're in the graveyard. He's, buried his mother. In the basement, he buries all those zombies, but they all end up coming back. It's again, visual storytelling that we have going on. Burying things will not destroy them. If you bury something, it will come back. I wrote down reap what you sow at one point in this.
That's like your favorite.
We're getting a lot of reaping what you sow last week.
But
a
it
lot
is
of
true.
reaping.
Lots of reaping from the get-go from this season 3. That is like
it's our theme.
Our theme
All right,
this
we got
year.
it on, yeah.
Reaping what you sow.
It really is. And when people don't deal with the shit that they need to deal with and they just bury it or tranquilize it, it's going to wake up. It's going to come back. I think we're really wanting to talk about it. So let's get to the thrill.
Yeah.
Now we can talk about these zombies and effects that we got. So to kind of preface it, the beginning of the movie actually has nothing to do with our main characters. It is classic white guys going to Skull Island and picking up this rat monkey that he wants to probably take back and study. But where does that lead? Someone gets bit at a zoo, and that is Lionel's mother, which spurs this whole thing. The effects just keep amping up through the movie, and
because she keeps getting worse.
Yes. And the situation that Lionel finds himself in keep getting worse. And that was my concern going into this movie and seeing how it was starting. I was like, okay, how are we going to keep one-upping the last effect that we saw? There's so many effects in this movie. Like, every scene there was an effect going on.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be able to talk about every single effect because there is so many happening.
You have to go and see it.
You got to see it. I'll try to include as many little clips as I can in this episode, but to really take in the amount of effects going on, you got to watch it. So I think probably the best thing for us to do is, what's your favorite effect that you saw, or one or two of your favorite effect moments?
That breakfast scene was truly wild. It wasn't just like nasty for nasty sake. It was showcasing Lionel's caregiving and how much he had done for his mom. So he's willing to not see them as monsters and just be like, oh, you guys were in a terrible situation. Let me just take care of you.
Mm-hmm. That dinner scene, this is kind of going back to the cook / the meat of it, of how, Lionel is trying to figure out how to live on his own. And he now has these like zombies that he has to take care of, which are kind of teaching him caregiving ways.
That's what pets are for.
That's what pets are for, to teach you how to take care of something.
Don't take care of zombies.
Don't take care of zombies. But he was doing a pretty good job. He was feeding them. He was, trying to keep them safe in the basement and keep himself safe.
And then the other part, what was it? I don't know. The whole end?
The whole
end. I
there
thought
was so
it was
much in the party.
So funny that Lionel's weapon of choice was the lawnmower.
Party's over.
I love that use of the lawnmower as the weapon, because earlier in the movie we see his mother nagging him about mowing the lawn. Mm-hmm. So the lawnmower is very much a symbol of how tied to his mother he is. Oppressed by his mother. And then later he uses that same tool to take the power back and to destroy the zombies.
A fucking lawnmower, dude.
A lawnmower, man.
That shit is heavy.
Jeez. One of the most hilarious scenes I thought was, so the priest and the nurse zombies bone, And instantly there's a zombie baby that comes out of the nurse.
Ugliest baby I've ever seen.
Of course, ugly, very durable baby. It's being thrown around, kicked around. But that scene of him taking it to the park, which again, like that is a moment of him actually like learning how to take care of a baby. He's looking at the other mothers there and like seeing how they like rock the cradle and interact with their baby. He's like trying to, imitate that too. But of course he's got a zombie baby who's trying to run amok. It's a monster. And so that whole scene of him trying to grab it and using the playground equipment and oh God, he's just so funny.
It's so hilarious.
It was so funny. We have this other very despicable character who's the uncle of Lionel. And he comes in when the mother dies because he just wants the money in the house.
At least he's well provided for.
Yes, well, the Cosgroves were hardly paupers.
He'll be the sole beneficiary.
I like that his character was in here because he was another obstacle for Lionel to overcome and to take more charge of his life. His uncle comes in and is very much pushing him around for the majority of the movie. And then at the end, Lionel finally felt like he could overcome his very shitty uncle. But when his uncle does become a zombie, his spine is like ripped out of place, but his head is still on the top. And so his upper torso is like slumped over because there's no spine.
Yeah.
But the spine is still straight up and his head is on top of the spine.
It's like coming out of his asshole or
That's
something.
what it looks like. Yeah. Whoa. What the hell?
What a great way to actually present who he is.
Yes.
Through now him being a literal monster. He was already an internal monster, but like, how would he look like if he was? Oh yeah, his spine would be coming out of his asshole because he's an asshole.
Yes. Spineless asshole. Another moment that I wanted to highlight, we got these haunted guts running around too. The lung monster.
Very the thing.
Very the thing. But I loved how it like looked at itself in the mirror and like became aware of itself. It was like, oh my God, that's me.
It's like when people tell you when you're doing mushrooms, don't look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Because then you're just gonna get lost and you're just gonna be like, whoa, that's how I look like.
What? That's not me. And then at the end when right before Lionel gives him the final lawnmower blow, he's like, the lungs are like praying. They're like, please don't kill me. And then finally, I just wanted to highlight Mega Mom. Really creepy and a great boss battle. Because again, we're just trying to think, how are we one-upping what we just saw? And then for them at the end to have Mega Mom then consume Lionel through her womb, which is where she wanted Lionel all along. Just a great ending. Just a great ending character and set piece. Let's get to the ride. Let's get to the ride. I mean, roller coaster of fun. I would say this movie, I was having fun the entire time. Didn't feel like a slog at all. Like, wow.
I was so afraid it wasn't going to be good because of what we were getting fed, but it was so stylized that no, I'm just kidding. Just in general, you in general were understanding what it was trying to say.
Yeah. And
And then it just got so ridiculous that you're just like, this is so much fun.
Give me more.
I wanted more, and they gave it to us, and
Yes.
it's so fun.
Like I said, there was very little left on the table for me to think of what they could do. Like they had
Fucking put a hand through someone's fucking
oh my
mouth.
God, that was awesome. That was so good.
So many splitting of fucking bodies, and
yeah,
then
like the baby split someone's face open and was like, I think controlling their body at one point.
Yeah.
Wow. What?
legs just walking around with no top.
Sure. Why not?
Oh my! So many limbs. The uncle chopped everyone up, and then he was like in a pile of limbs.
Yeah. There is a reveal at the end that the mother killed the husband and the mistress that he discovered. This is kind of like a moment that Lionel finds these pictures in the attic and he realizes, oh my God, my mother killed my father and his mistress. To me, that was the one moment where I was like, I don't know if we necessarily need that. We've seen enough to hate the mother. Do we need her being a murderer?
I guess in the sense that I guess we didn't want to leave the mother completely being a bad guy and the dad being the tragic hero.
Sure.
Because he was told that his dad died from saving him.
Right.
And turns out both of them were terrible.
Right.
So I guess if we want to talk about in the sense of like generational trauma, it was done by both because the dad could have had the just respect for him and his wife. And he chose to cheat.
Yeah.
And then the mother chose to murder them.
Fair.
But I don't think it was necessary.
Yeah. I like that point that you just made of,
Because he kept getting flashbacks.
We kept getting flashbacks of what we thought was Lionel drowning and the father saving him. But what it turned out to be was actually Lionel remembering his mother drowning his father and his mistress. And kind of it does go back to that like psychological control that the mother has over Lionel of like she actually is controlling his memories now of his father and of that situation. So I guess it does kind of add to her manipulation. And then on top of it, making the father, he's not perfect either. He made mistakes and his mistakes definitely affected the mother and Lionel in the future. To me, it kind of a little bit came out of nowhere, but now that we're kind of talking about it and digesting it more, I do understand what they were trying to do. I think just initially I was like, why did we need that?
Yeah.
Why did we need that moment?
Also, it just speaks to how demented the mother is to have committed such a terrible thing as murder in front of her child. Didn't even bother closing the door, didn't even bother making sure that he just wasn't in the house. She was so blinded with rage, and that in itself is a form of control.
Yeah.
Is that she's needing to control the situation at all times.
Yeah.
That she just like has the blinders on.
Yeah.
And he got to witness horrible, horrible things.
Oof. And the murder of his father and his father's mistress was only the beginning of him witnessing horrible, horrible things.
Yikes.
But in the end, kind of feels like Lionel's going to be okay.
He has Paquita.
He's got Paquita.
Who will forever love him because the tarot card said that he was the one.
Thank you, tarot cards. There was this kind of element of destiny through this movie because it starts with that of Paquita getting this tarot reading of you will find your love.
You will recognize this man by the symbol of the star and of the moon.
It almost a little bit at one point felt like Lionel's destiny too to overcome his mother. So there was kind of this element of like fulfilling your destiny. And Lionel definitely did that through so much blood and guts.
So much blood and guts.
So much. Wow. Dead Alive.
Dead Alive.
1992. What a ride.
Wow.
Let's get to these Smash Pumpkins, huh? Let's see what we got to smash up.
Do you have a number?
I think I do. I'll go.
I think I do too.
No,
I for
this
sure
movie is it's an interesting kind of critique because I think that this movie absolutely delivered with everything that it set out to do. And that was to be over the top. A lot of elements that you might think that we would harp on in a movie, overwritten, bad acting, all these kind of things actually make it better. So it's kind of this crazy critique that we have to do of this movie. Really my only thing that I didn't think worked that well, but now talking about it, it kind of makes it feel better, is that element of the mother killing the father that almost didn't feel necessary. But that really is about it. Every other element of this movie works for me. The over-the-top nature of it, the effects, of course. The message works for me, too. Like, there is a through line in this movie. While it is over the top, it's still there. I think I got to give this movie a 4.5.
Ooh, nice. My number is at 4.7.
Wow.
I enjoyed the hell out of this movie.
Even though you almost threw up.
And
that's saying a lot.
That's where those points get deducted.
Wow.
Because I don't like throwing up. I don't like seeing things that are going to make me puke. But, so like elements like pus.
Oh, there was pus.
Oh.
We didn't even talk about her little pus blowing into the guy's pudding.
That's the part that like and the way that he was eating the like already custard in itself is not something visually pleasing, and he was eating it with such gusto and just like that the pus going into the custard. The pus already looks like the color of the custard. You know, there's so many elements that I didn't like that part.
But despite that, you gave us a 4.7.
I gave it a 4.7 because it was a lot of fun. I love seeing all the practical effects. All of them. All of them. All of them. All of them. Wow.
This is a movie that I wish we did this for a live show. I feel like watching this I loved watching this with you, obviously, but having like a group of people to just take in all of this together, wow, what a fun time that would be.
It is like the movie that you want to show other people, but not quite Human Centipede, you know?
Yes.
There is a seriousness to Human Centipede.
Yeah.
And this is so the opposite, but still with elements of like grossness. But yeah.
It's just such a fun time. It's just such a fun, it's like a great example of a movie that feels like just such a fun roller coaster ride. And I just want other people to experience that too, you know, and I want to be with them while they experience it. So please go watch this movie if you haven't seen it. Wow.
So
highly recommend it.
Fun.
Yeah.
I am so shocked that it was that good.
Yeah.
Just because of the log line. Oh, the hair coming out of it.
Oh my God. I forgot to mention that. She ate the dog and then he pulled the dog out of her throat. Ultimate hairball. Ultimate hairball. And then this guy, these Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh turn around to make the Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
Whoa. What a fucking success story.
Man.
Dead alive.
Dead alive.
Woo! Fun
Wow.
times. Wow. Awesome.
Well, fuck.
Fuck. What are we going to pick next week?
I know.
Jeez.
I think, is it your turn?
I think it is. All right, here we go. Oh, God, there's so many. Here's one.
No, we only have like 2 in there.
Only 2. Here we go. Okay, here's the log line. Oh, here we go. Bunch more writers on this one.
Oh, no.
We'll see what happens.
Oh, no.
In 2027, a chaotic world in which women have somehow become infertile, a former activist agrees to help transport a miraculously pregnant woman to a sanctuary at sea.
No babies here.
No babies here.
What is it called? I know which one.
Children of Men.
Children of Men.
From 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Alfonso Cuarón.
I do remember seeing the trailer and lots of things about this, but I have yet to see it.
You have not seen this. This is a great movie. This is really, really good.
Ooh.
Very dark and very depressing.
I mean, I feel like it came out around the same, if not maybe like a year or two after I Am Legend.
Mm-hmm.
And it had that kind of like tonality of like
end of the world.
Apocalypse and I'm a man and I survive.
It's heavy. It's heavy. It's depressing.
As long as there's no fucking dog that dies. God damn it.
Couldn't tell you that's true, but I don't know. I can't think of a dog dying in this movie, but I haven't seen it in a second. So we will see next week.
Yeah.
Children of Men.
Because I don't know why, but these movies love to kill German shepherds.
They really do. I don't think a German shepherd dies in this. As far as I know, don't quote me.
Fucking hope not.
But just before we get out of here, it just is funny that this movie came out in 2006. We are currently in 2024, and the setting of this movie, which was in the future, is 2027. So we're only 3 years away from when this futuristic movie takes place.
Almost 21 years.
21 years.
That's crazy.
That is wild.
Well,
tune in next week for Children of Men.
Children of Men. Well, in the meantime, you can go and follow me at Color Me Leslie.
You can follow me at BPPritchieT. You can also follow us at the Deadlights Pod.
Mm-hmm. And you guys can give us a call, too.
Please, give us a call.
773-669-6677. We'd love to hear from you.
We'd love to hear your movie suggestions, your reason why you love horror, just anything at all.
Anything.
Yeah.
Call us to tell us you love us.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Also, if you're in the Chicagoland area, don't usually plug this, but if you're in the Chicagoland area, we do a monthly horror movie trivia night.
Yeah.
The last Fridays of every month at Hex Coffee Company. They're an awesome coffee shop in the Chicago.
Awesome people in there.
Yeah, in Chicago. And we have been so lucky to team up with them to bring you horror movie trivia. So if you want to test your luck at that, always awesome prizes to be won. And I think we have a pretty good time too.
Oh, yeah.
Doing
We've met such lovely people.
May, who's a guest on this season, we met through doing it. So
she is a beast at frickin' answering these questions. So she is one to absolutely look out for.
Yeah. Get her on your team.
Yeah.
Get her on your team. If
Recruit
you're smart.
her.
Yeah.
Befriend her. She's amazing.
Yeah. So if you want to check us out, please, you can follow us on the Deadlights Pod and see updates on that. Check out the Hex website. I'm sure you can find information on there as well.
Oh, yeah.
But until next time,
yeah,
let's get spooky.
Ooh.
Body, no.
Oh, God.